All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast. We don't have a name for it yet still, but I have a super exciting guest on, and I'm just going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, everyone. Appreciate Smitty for having me on. This is Chubbzter, formerly Chubbzter from 1127. Had my fair share of battles with FAFO and 1130 over the last 9 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chubbs has been a pretty significant figure throughout the past several months. Well, he was probably, I would say, our biggest rival from 1127, all throughout season one. Him and Neph were constantly going at it, so he was definitely a pretty big character within the gameplay itself for us. But kind of going right into that, you and Neph obviously had a pretty intense rivalry. What was your experience facing Neph and kind of your mindset going into battle with him? And yeah, just kind of go into it.
Yeah, so, dealing with Neph isn't just a battle on the map itself. Mm-hmm. It's like almost full-blown psychological warfare at times. The guy's an expert at gaslighting, and, he's the most powerful player in any of the groupings we saw. And so he was somebody that just had to be, monitored and watched. You had to know where he was at all times. And have any chance in capital war against him, you had to really know how to fight him. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, I think rival is the right word for it. In general, I had good relationships with most other strong players and other servers. Mm-hmm. I think Neph was my only actual enemy by the end of it. So yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch you guys. I honestly feel like a lot of people would have quit the game or just kind of lost interest if you and Neph didn't have the rivalry that you did. I think it added a lot to it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can, so in terms of my power, I didn't grow because of Neph. I actually grew because of Binks and Rolling. Right. Neph was never someone I was going to catch. He had such a head start, and he was too much to handle. Mm-hmm. But when you think about Capital Wars, I knew the only way to beat you guys was to make sure that Bings and Rolling couldn't maintain cannons. Mm-hmm. And so my mindset was, okay, Neph is never going to be caught. Now, did I gain on him? Absolutely. Did I close the gap? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I was never going to catch him. He's never going to stop, never going to slow down. And as much as you want to grow, he's going to grow just as fast. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I had to keep rolling out of cannons in wars, right? If I could neutralize them, make sure that we had cannons, we'd kill Neff's troops and eventually kick him out of the capital. And over time, our server did pretty well against you guys. We grew. The first time, I don't think we got even 5%. Then the second time we had 30. Mm-hmm. Then I think we got above 70%. So as a server, we definitely got stronger. Mm-hmm. But it was when we were able to help other strong servers like 1126. Mm-hmm. The whole strategy was, hey, Neff's going to be Neph, but the minute Binks and Rolling, take their G1 and G2 out of their wall, I'm going to burn them down. And that's how 1126 won both times, is we neutralized Binks and Rolling versus just focusing on Neph. Now, by the end of it, I was able to, watch Neph, and if he had what I wanted on his wall, I could go burn him too, right? If he had his G3 on, I know I could take it. If he had his G3 and G4 on, I knew I could take it with a rally. So, we would watch him, and if he had his G4 or just G3 on the wall, I'd go take him out. If he had his G3 and G4 on the wall, we had a group that was ready to pour it in and rally. And so that's kind of how we dealt with Neph. I got strong enough to deal with Rolling and Binks on my own. They couldn't use their G1s at all if they wanted to live. So, yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun battles.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a blast. I loved watching him and commentating on it, live streaming, all that stuff. It was a lot of fun for sure. For season one, what was kind of your strategy with season one? Did you guys think that you guys are going to be able to, beat FAFO and Neph, or did you guys have a different strategy, or what was kind of your approach to season one?
Yeah, I mean, look, we had a massive alliance. We had a lot of strong servers, support system. No one had a Neph, right? He was truly the neutralizer. We knew that. Right. Our only advantage was numbers and, the idea of Neph sleeping. Yeah. What we learned through season one is that, yeah, Neph played a lot. Others played his account a lot, right? He was always online. So we still wanted to win. The challenge we ran into was timing. You guys had round the clock resets, and You guys are really good at the protection phase. You guys buried some small alliances inside your season 1 map, and you were able to reset. And I couldn't get rid of those small alliances. We knew that if we could get rid of the small alliances around you guys, we could attack you in multiple fronts, and we could win those fights, or at least win one of those fights.
Right.
Right. Neph is only one person at one time. And if me and No Name hit together, we could do some damage. So put me and No Name attacking things together, and then they take one of their alliances, doesn't matter what size they are, have them attacking something. We were going to win something.
Right.
But we couldn't remove those small alliances. And you guys had really good rotations on the resets. And so there was our windows to attack were very small. And we couldn't get ours timed. So by the end of it, what we knew is if we wanted to take property from you guys, we had to have like a multi-server attack. We had to trigger things on one server and attack you there, and also attack you at home. But power was the key. It had to be 2 people, at my power, similar power, attacking on different servers at the same time, because I could handle Binks and Rolling, right? But I couldn't handle Neph.
Right.
I needed somebody else that had that same power. That way you couldn't, bring Binks and Rolling over to one server and have Neph stay on another server. And so that presented just a huge challenge, just the timing of protections and our inability to get things to line up on a regular basis. We had a couple situations where it lined up right for us.
Especially the first invasion that you guys had. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was the fun one. So like the first week, yeah, like it was pretty funny. Like, so we had a huge group, a lot of servers, a lot of key people, and we were talking through week 1, like where we're going to outpost, and we went 11:39, and some of us, myself included, I wanted to go straight to 11:30. I was like, I want to keep these guys busy on 11:30. Attack is the only defense in the situation, because if Neph gets to another server, right, he can progress any map he wants. You can't stop him if he wants to progress. So I was like, let's make them take things on their own map. Like, let's keep them busy there, and maybe we can save some of the real estate in other servers. So week 1, people were a little timid. But week 2, me and, One Hit, so Pounder was a huge proponent. Voltron was a huge proponent. Piston on 1127 Judge, us. We were like, basically, hey, let's all outpost 11:30 at the same time on the same night. It doesn't matter what time. Let's pick it shortly after reset, so we know we have numbers. We have our Asian friends, and then we have our American allies all hit at the same time, and we did that. So the day we were allowed to put our second outpost up, we all planted on the level 4s. And I think we had 13 successful outposts.
Yeah, it was something crazy. You guys had so many people from like all different alliances, all different servers, all at once, and it was really overwhelming for us, for sure, because it was like the first day, and some of us are still trying to figure out like what we're supposed to do, and it was just like boom, and we're like, oh crap, like we're just jumping right into it.
Yeah, we came with full force. That was a big win for us. It was fun. Like, watching the micro aspect of it. Like, Neph saw us, so he immediately plants on our outpost. So I had our entire alliance. I kicked them all and let the outpost go slow. And then the minute he ports away, we pop back in and we get it. And then you guys actually destroyed our outpost. And then the minute he ported away, I rebuilt it, and we successfully got that outpost up with the stronghold. And everyone kind of deployed the same tactic. Like, you guys would kill one of the outposts, and then would just wait for Neph to leave, and then they'd rebuild it real quick and finish that stronghold capture. That was something, though, man. That was a lot of fun. We didn't know how it was going to go, and it was, I don't know, like through every phase of the game, there's little things that are like testaments to your partnership with people. That was in season 1. That was, okay, these are our people. These are the people we're going to war with, because they all manned up and went after it together. So it was a lot of fun. Big morale win for us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then also there was the Mega Hive on 1127. I remember that was pretty fun as well, where you guys had, how many alliances was it around there? Probably like 4 or 5 or something like that.
It was basically anyone active in our server. So you guys made the first attempt to outpost our server. We successfully defended. And then as the week went on, like, proximity was everything when it comes to getting outposts up and destroying them. The closer you are, the better you can defend, the better you can attack. And so I want to take credit for this. I think Judge wants credit for it. We're just going to agree to disagree here. But we decided to make a Mega Hive. And so it kind of started as just us. It was more on our side of the map. And then WFO was all about it right out of the gate. They were with us. And then Beef came over, WLFG, Softs. And we had basically most active players in our server were hived around your outpost, and we just did it. We never left. That was our spot for the week, and we knew that wasn't changing once we did it. And I think it was successful. I think, look, we defended, I think, 3 more times, and I was never sure what the real intentions were. I was told during it by some of my spies that it was more of like a personal vendetta to take that than it was an actual attempt to take cities from us. What I did know is that if we could stall you guys for a week to a week and a half and get to like the last week, that we had our map was set up to where you guys could never touch our level 6. So when you guys finally did get it up, I wasn't that concerned. I was disappointed because then I look back at the how I played it, and I could have done things differently to maybe be successful there, but it didn't matter. You could have gotten one of our level 5s, but our level 6s, we had the top 3 alliances set up to where we could rotate level 6s. And we ended up doing that anyways. So I wasn't worried about the level 6. And so I didn't think you guys were even going to attempt to progress, but I wasn't sure. So, and then after the first, when I saw you guys ignore us resetting, I knew you guys weren't going to make a move there. And it was more about just keeping it than it was anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I was curious if you guys had known, or you specifically knew, like what, because at first, yeah, definitely, we were definitely trying to take it, but then the couple times after it, it was more so of like, because we had SVS against you guys coming up very soon, so we're like, hey, let's try to like kill as many of their troops off as you can. Neph was like, hey, like only me, Cole, and Binks are gonna do like the outpost, like just to garrison it, and then everybody else just like you can send it to the stronghold and stuff like that, but like, don't worry about sending your troops in. Just save your troops, and we're just going to try to kill as many of their troops as possible, leading into 1127. Which definitely, I think. I mean, I don't know your perspective on it, but I feel like it definitely helped a lot in our SVS against you guys as well. Kill a lot of members of your guys' troops.
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, maybe I think the missing point here is that the Littles never had troops. So, yeah, you were killing troops for sure, and it could have helped. But there wasn't a day we weren't fighting 3 or 4 times against you guys.
Yeah, true.
The only people with real troops was like me and Neph. I know Binks was low. I could look at his power numbers. Like he was low most of season 1. So troops they were champs. They just kept going. They kept going back, and they just retrained.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
like
midnight race. Oh yeah, dude, it was crazy. I went through. We had one fight against you guys, and it was the first real fight. We miscalculated. We had thought you made 2 stronghold takes that day, and so we all set up, and you guys set up too. And I was like, they're setting up, and they're going to try and take it right at reset. And it was, I think it was like 16 minutes before reset, or maybe like 14 minutes and 30 seconds. We knew we could get almost there before reset, and we were going to have maybe a couple percent right to get, which we could have maybe done. But then when that protection ended on that stronghold and Neph went right in, I was like, oh shit. I was like, we miscalculated here. And so whatever, we were already committed. We fought it. I think I burned 1 million gems that fight because I fought Neph, and then I fought another stronghold against Chef Solid, and Binks was smashing me from the side, and Rolling was hitting me, and then I think I fought in 3 strongholds.
Jeez.
And I went through 1 million gems, and I'm like, okay, this is not sustainable. No. Like, I don't care how many gems I have. I can't fight like this. And so we basically had to change our entire approach to strongholds. And that's when the little micro battles started with blue troops. And, like by the end of it, most of the fights I knew were pointless. I just wanted to hit you guys. Yeah. There was no winning. I knew that. There was no reason for me to even try. I just wanted to wait for Neph to switch rotations in the stronghold and kick everybody else out. That's what I wanted to do. And I had so much fun doing that because I knew I was being a pain in the ass to not only like Nephisto, but every one of you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sure you guys are watching, and then the minute Neph would come out, I'm sure you knew I was going to diamond rush, and I would. And I would just try and boot you guys out, and then I'd get out and just wait to do it all over again. I had so much fun with it.
No, that was fun. I remember there was one time you sent me like a message. 'Cause I think you were sending in like a Loki, and I sent my Loki in, and then like I pulled mine out right before yours got in. And you're like, bro, are you serious?
Dude, I do remember that. There's a lot of funny moments. Like I've chatted with Binks and Rolling quite a bit since season 1, and there's a lot of like specific fights that we remember that we laugh about now.
Oh yeah.
It's just funny, dude. Those little things like that kind of made season 1 because there were so many fights that were just pointless.
Yeah.
And you got to give it to like FAFO, but then all of our alliances, like they were troopers. They fought relentlessly, and they didn't give up. They kept rotating. We knew what the plan was. We knew it was just to hold long enough to let the defender capture. We did our best. Nephisto was just, he was a neutralizer to everything. And when you have multiple people playing that account, you got someone in New Zealand playing in off hours. I know Binks was hopping on the account all the time. And then when he was, I know somebody was playing his account. So it took our real only advantage away. And I think that it definitely bothered me. I was like, our only advantage is time and Neph being offline and our sheer numbers. But when you take that away, it made it really difficult. There's no we really wanted to set up on multiple level 6s. Our whole goal was to come after 2 to 3 level 6s at once. But because of the small alliances, the planning, I'm not taking anything away from what FAFO did. You guys did a great job planning and rotating. But we could have dealt with the planning and rotating if there were times when Neph was offline.
Yeah.
But since he was always online, we could not get the breaks we needed to position. For sure. And that just made it so difficult. And it was discouraging for a lot of people. They were like, what's the point? And I felt it, but I was committed. I was getting through season 1 and I was never going to stop. I think one of the last weeks I was on a work trip and I was gone most of the week and I could barely be active and I hated it because it just took 2 or 3 good opportunities away because I couldn't fight.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I remember Neph, he really was on nonstop for a lot of it too. I mean, there's times for sure I know he was getting 2 hours of sleep. It was crazy sometimes the amount that he would be on it. And I was like, oh, I mean, I remember at one point I was like, how does this guy even work? If he's on constantly 24/7. But yeah, I mean, I know after season 1 ended, I'm pretty sure he slept for like 16 to 20 hours. He had a super crazy long sleep because he was just so cooked from it. But yeah, no, season 1.
Everyone took a breath.
Yeah, for sure. Season 1 was a blast though, but let's kind of switch gears a little bit. So I know there had been some rumors saying that you had stepped away from the game and gave your account away. I guess, can you kind of clear the air and just tell us what happened? Maybe you don't have to share if it's personal reasons about why you stepped away, but if there is a certain reason why you stepped away, or if maybe you even plan on coming back, just go ahead and dive into that.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I'm definitely not coming back. When, after season 1, you're kind of going through the motions. You're grinding, clicking your red dots, doing your thing. Yeah. I took a look at the game, and I wasn't into the gameplay. I enjoyed the gameplay so much more when I was growing in power, and I wasn't as strong as I was than I did after I got strong. I don't know how Nephisto plays. I think it's incredibly boring to be that strong and not have fights every kill day, all kill day.
Right.
Everyone just runs from people that are that strong. And so the gameplay was boring. Capital Wars, I used the last 2 as a gauge. And yeah, sure, it's fun. You can win. I had my rotations down. I was pretty darn good at it. It was boring. I just didn't like the gameplay anymore. It's very repetitive, and I didn't see a lot of new things coming. Sure, there's a monkey coming in season 2. That just is another spend opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, from a gameplay perspective, I think there was a lot lacking for me. And I spent a ton of time doing nothing. That's time that can be elsewhere. I have a family.
Right.
I have work. And I took a few weeks and I really looked at the situation. And the only enjoyment I had was talking shit to Nephisto. That was it. That was my real enjoyment. And and not to mention, I love my people. I love my server. I love my lines. They're incredible people, just a lot of fun to be around. And we had a really tight core. But, real life's more important. I'm looking it's summertime. I am tired of staring at my phone every Friday and Saturday. I don't want to be on my phone every Friday night fighting or looking for a fight. I don't want to be on my phone every Saturday morning during Capital War, right? And season 2 was coming. And I was like, I don't want to go through that grind again. It's time to just step away. The only reason I kept coming back is because I didn't want to let my people down. I didn't want to let my server down. I didn't want to let my alliance down.
Yeah.
And, I was like, that's not enough for me to stay. I was like, I need to focus on me, be a person outside of the game. And so that was kind of my decision. It's like, I'm not enjoying the game like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for other people, not myself.
Yeah.
And so I took a look at the other people that really mattered to me in my life, and it's my family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I chose. And so I just kind of stepped away. And no, I don't think I'd come back. I mean, look, if the devs want to, sponsor me or something and give me an account to grow and fight somebody stupid, sure, I would maybe think about it. But even then, I don't think I'd want to. It's just such a time suck. And, I don't have that kind of time.
Right.
Right. And so I had to walk away. It was just getting too much and, other things to focus on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I completely understand that for sure. I mean, obviously, real life always should take precedence over in-game stuff, but that's one thing I've been telling a lot of people, like, is the thing that really keeps me coming back more so than the actual game itself is just the relationships and the friendships and just the feeling of loyalty to, like, your people and the alliance and the friends that you've made. So I definitely understand there's like a tug of war kind of going on between, it's like, man, I have some real genuine friends in the game, but obviously, your family has to be number one.
Yeah, for sure. I was a pretty big presence in the server.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew it would change. Like even if my account stayed, like I think I represented something kind of unique to the group.
Definitely.
Right. That was almost a safety blanket in some situations. Like people knew that if I was there fighting, there's a chance, and that if someone's in our server, I was going to protect them. I feel like a fun personality. I'll let other people comment on that. I feel like I kept things fun for the server. I was a friend to everyone in our server. I can't tell you how many people asking me for advice daily. Level 24s. I don't know how you're still level 24 this late in the game, but level 24s through 30s, varying different questions. Like, hey, I have $5. What's the best thing to spend it on? And I answered everybody. I did my very best to help everyone that came to me for help. And then it turned into other servers were coming to me, 11.2.6, right? 11.3.4. People were just asking questions. And so I spent a lot of time just chit-chat with people about stuff like that. And then our alliance, building up to season 1, like I was a motivator. We saw Nephisto and you guys early in the game. And there was one capital war where the discussion's like, hey, do we fight this or not? And I'm like, we're fighting this. Like, I didn't like Neff's personality. I didn't like what he represented. And I'm like, look, we have so many people that invest a lot of time and energy in this game. No one wants to just roll over.
Right.
Let's just go fight this and, do our best. Like, we knew we weren't going to win, but we weren't going to bend the knee. And so we fought. And I think that was, like, when you think about me and Neff's, like, who he is versus what I am, I didn't know him a lot early on. A lot of people were obsessed with him early. I didn't really care too much. Then I found some videos of like the civil wars he had caused in other games. And like it leads to people quitting. And to me, I felt like his only motivation was himself. That's how I felt about it. I knew most of it was an act. Like I definitely know there was, some role playing in there. But the bottom line is he didn't care if he pummeled a server into defeat and half of them quit. I hated that about him. And so I think that's why I never wanted to be his ally, is because that's so opposite of me. I wanted to lift people up. I wanted people that invested their time, money, and energy into that game to enjoy the game. And that's what I focus on. Like we celebrated, like, you can reach out to some of the alliances that I was in. It didn't matter what people accomplished, whether they popped an HQ, whether they got T10s, whether they upgraded a gear with their first bubble, up until the very end of the game. I was very big on celebrating those moments. And I wanted people, and I promoted people, like anything you do, put it in the Alliance chat and let's celebrate each other. And these are all milestones. It doesn't matter what level you're at, how fast you're doing things. Right? As you progress, let's celebrate each other. And I think people enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It kept them coming back. And I think that spirit, is why I did it. I wanted to help the littles. I wanted them all to enjoy the game. And I felt like Neph was the opposite. I don't think he cared about anybody else but himself. I think that's why I enjoyed fighting him so much. That's why I enjoyed seeing his bullshit in world chat or season chat or event chat, whatever it's called. I love seeing his bullshit lie and then his unique ability to gaslight like a pro. I loved going back and forth with him. I enjoyed it a lot, actually.
Yeah, it was fun to watch for sure. No,
Yeah, we had some fun conversations.
oh yeah, no, you guys had some really great banter, and yeah, it is like I always say this too is when you're in, I guess, quote unquote, like enemy servers to 1130, it's definitely hard to see like the side of Neph that we see like being in his alliance a lot of times.
Sure,
Especially
that's
like
fair.
if you are his friend. Like for me, like I've seen a lot of really good sides to him, and he's been there for me like as a friend, even in like outside of the game stuff, as well as of course in the game as well. And so, but I know how he comes across for sure, like to people out like that are in the game that are enemies. Like he's very good at, like you said, gaslighting people and stirring up the pot a little bit to make things more interesting with just banter and all that good stuff. But it's definitely a lot of fun.
It was intentional. It was intentional. He's not a dumb person. I may have called him dumb quite a bit, but he's not a dumb person. I truly believe that outside of the game, we might actually get along pretty well. We happen to be matched up in servers, and I happen to be someone that was never going to bend the knees to him. I also think he wanted that.
Yeah.
He needed enemies. I needed enemies. I didn't, I love talking shit to people, but most people I was friends with. So when I saw him or Ego in World Chat or Season Chat or Pitboss, there's my fun.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be their ally to a certain extent, like just because what was I going to do if I was friends with everybody?
Right. Yeah, I feel like you and Pitboss also had some kind of like hidden rivalry a little bit.
I really enjoyed Pitboss. First of all, I don't care what anybody says. He's the best porter in the game. The guy could teleport. Didn't matter what the situation was. He was the best teleporter in the game. He was the hardest person for me to hit.
Yeah, he's quick.
Yeah, I don't know. Pitboss was a funny one. I don't even know what to call it. I just loved giving him shit. And he would try, but there were a few times he would say something, I laughed out loud because it was truly funny. He was just fun to mess with.
Yeah.
He'd pop up in Season Chat, and I would just hit him with, hey, go lick a doorknob, and then it would start it all. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with Pitt. I respected Pitt quite a bit. A lot of people did not like him whatsoever. He was a unique one for me, but I did like him. I didn't like Ego. He was, I don't know if that was an act. That's who he was. That's the one person I think I just really didn't like.
Yeah.
He just annoyed me.
That's funny. He's actually on the podcast. Well, he's the one I actually just dropped not too long ago. I don't know if you saw that one, but yeah, Ego. He's definitely he's a funny character. He's very aggressive as well, like with his trash talk and his gameplay too. I would say.
Yeah, I think it was like he would go off track of the conversation, and it would always boil down to, oh yeah, well I could ask your entire alliance if you weren't there. It's like, oh, this isn't even relevant, dude. Like, where are you going with this? And I don't know. He just annoyed me. But at the end of the day, he still doesn't matter.
That's funny.
That's my favorite line to
Yeah, I
him.
was gonna say, I remember you said that to me too once when I DM'd you and was like talking some trash. You're like, you don't matter.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like when people would get my DMs and try and come after me. I enjoyed that stuff. I like talking trash to people.
It is fun. By the way, kind of a side note. Did you have access to that account named Nope in 1130?
No, I did not have Nope.
You didn't? Okay.
I can't tell you how many people are like, who are your information sources? They're like, now that you're not playing, can you just tell me who it was? And I'm like, first of all, it wasn't one person. It was many people. And I think some of them still play, and I'm not going to reveal any identities.
Sure.
I don't. It's already tough enough for a lot of people in 1130 right now. I think there's some chaos going on there, at least a couple weeks ago from what I heard. I don't want anything extra. If these people are still trying to play, I want them to play.
Right.
And revealing who they were isn't going to help anyone. So you're referring to like just how I got my information, basically?
Yeah.
Just for the audience. I had access to a lot of like R4 chats from FAFO. And I would creatively put it out there in Season Chat, knowing that you guys are reading it. And it was all just to create mistrust with the R4 groups. This is the only reason I did it. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing it because it was never immediate. But a week later, I'd get a message from like Pitboss. He's like, hey, how did you know I said Nixie was quitting in R4 chat? Who told you that? And I'm like, dude, I'll give you one guess. And I was never actually going to tell him if he got it right or not, but I'll give you one guess. And I would just keep it going. Binks really wanted to know who my sources were because I was early season 1, like you guys would post my train alliance chat and somebody from FAFO would tell me about it. So I'd pop over to your server and I put on world chat, like, hey, please don't post my Training Alliance chat. Thank you. And then I'd leave. And it just created the situation where I think you guys thought I had an alt for a little bit. I think
Yeah, we
I
thought
think there was just a lot of uncertainty.
we really thought you bought that Nope account because Nope, that account was, I think, the number 3 on our server or number 4, something like that, on our server for quite a while. And then the guy who originally had it went on vacation, and then all of a sudden he just like never spoke again. And there was like a week where he was offline, and then all of a sudden the account became active again. And we were just like, oh, maybe he's back. So we didn't kick him for a while because we're like, oh, the guy's like, he's playing again. He's putting up okay points like in versus. So, and he's one of the strongest people at the time in our server. So we obviously don't want to get rid of him. But weeks and weeks and weeks went by and never a word. The only thing we get from him is he'd throw up a random dig in the chat. That's like all we'd get from him. And sometimes we're like, is he actually like a bot? Because he would just start sending his troops at the level 30 Marshal Guard and just keep bouncing, but like just nonstop sending them. And we're like, what is this guy doing? Like, it was like such bot behavior. So that's where we're like, maybe Chubbs is just like trolling. Like maybe that's how Chubbs is getting his information, was from, he bought Nope's account or something. We weren't sure.
I thought about taking to that level, but it just wasn't worth the time. I knew to play that game, you got to have time. And I just didn't have a lot of extra time to do it. No, it was just people, man. Like what I told people is like, look, there are people like you that have a good relationship with Nephisto, and there's people that took a step back and they realized, like, you know, he created civil wars intentionally internally on the server that weakened the server in general. Like, you guys aren't a deep server.
Right.
Like, you have strong at the top because of Nephisto, but you're not deep, right? You don't have high level activity.
Right.
And, you know, Nephisto, his early civil war is a reason for that, right? And then he created a ton of enemies. You know, he didn't, instead of, you know, realizing that this game is bigger than one server, he went after every server he faced. You go back to whoever he's facing in the Capital War, he's in world chat gaslighting and saying shit about and creating a problem. And it's intentional, but people didn't like it because it did hurt the server.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of put you guys against everyone else, and you guys had your allies, but it put you guys against a strong group. You know, and nobody other than Nephisto could really do much.
Right.
And people wanted Nephisto to be banned. They wanted him out.
Yeah.
They wanted to see FAFO crumble. They didn't like what FAFO was with him in it. And so people were happy to give me information. And they saw how I used it, and they kept feeding me. Right? You know, basically people that just didn't like Nephisto. And I don't think it was about anybody else. It was just about Nephisto. That didn't like Nephisto and wanted him gone. They were happy to give me information. So I got a lot of information. Alliance chats, Discourse. I have text messages from like people. Like, if you went through my screenshots I have, you'd be blown away at how much stuff I have. It's because people kept sending me stuff.
That's crazy. So I'm guessing, you don't have to say because I know you're trying to keep it anonymous, but was JJ, I'm guessing, one of them for sure?
JJ was not.
Oh, really?
JJ was not.
Wow, I'm surprised.
No, I was starting to talk to JJ, but then there's some, I'm not even going to go through it, but there was some drama with JJ, and that kind of ended that opportunity.
Yeah. There is some interesting stuff that was going on 11 with JJ.
Yeah, some voice modulation, some you know, maybe gender modulation, things like that. Like, I don't know all the details, but it was. So I heard the story. I'm like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah, for sure. But awesome. Yeah, I mean, I guess, Chubbs, is there anything, like any final message that you want to send to the Nephisto 1130, FAFO 1127, or any other friends or enemies in the game? Any kind of quote unquote like last words or whatever the case is?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, to like my core group, a lot of them quit after I left, but you know, they made the game a special place for me. I started playing the game kind of at an interesting time in my personal life. It was a really good and necessary distraction for me. And there was a core group of people. I don't want to name names just for fear of leaving one of them off, because they were all so important to me. But, you know, just amazing people. I appreciate the conversations, the people they are, and had a ton of fun. To the SR27 team, I miss them all. Just a fun, great group of people. I hope they're doing well. To, you know, the server itself, 1127, like, I think the most united server I've seen, especially the leadership levels, you know, Piston, Shashire, Judge, and then all the others. Like, if I don't say your name, it's not because you weren't important, but like, it was such a good aligned group of people that really cared for each other, and not just their alliance, like the entire server. Like they cared about the server and took deliberate steps into protecting each other and making sure, like Cheshire giving up level 6 to Beef at the end of season 1 to get him queen. Like those are just things you don't see a lot, and little things in a game, but it shows a lot about who they are as people. And every alliance was the same way. They were all good people to each other. To Nephisto, grab those phone books, bro. I appreciated our rivalry. I don't know. He would say some weird ass shit to me in PMs. I think he thought he bothered me, but he didn't bother me at all. But I enjoyed our rivalry. I enjoyed our world chat, season chat conversations. They were very intellectual and fun. I did enjoy that. And by the end of it, that was like the most fun I was having, was just talking shit to Nephisto. So appreciate that guy for that. To Binks, Rolling. They were great opponents of mine. I really wanted them to join my server at the end of season 2. They were the motivators for me. Like, I started out as I started about a month late in the game, and I was, what I like to say then was the strongest level 17 in the server, but I wasn't really pushing. And then I started pushing a little bit, and then Binks and Rolling came to our server, and they wrecked my alliance. And I was pretty strong, but there's nothing I could do. And I was like, well, screw this shit. And so then I started pushing pretty hard. And then I think it was one hit, and TNFD came a couple weeks later, and I couldn't do anything about them either. And like, this is bullshit. And so that's when I really started amping up the gear. And then when season 1 hit, I had to stay ahead of Binks. That was my motivation, was like, I'm not gonna let Binks catch me. I have to continue being able to wreck Binks, because that's the only way I can help my server.
Yeah.
And so, they were great opponents. I enjoyed them. They're good people behind the scenes too. In my opinion, had a lot of conversation with the guys. We riffed a lot on, upgrades, tech, like just good people. I enjoyed talking to those guys. And everybody else I played at 11:30, like the server itself, most of you guys, I enjoy all of you. Like just good people, good opponents, had our banter. You were the necessary enemy, but never a real enemy of mine. You know what I mean? Like it was just part of the game.
For sure.
I just hope everybody keeps playing and having fun. I guess that's it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Love it. Well, thanks again, Chubbs, for jumping on the podcast. It's definitely a ton of fun, and I really enjoy chatting with you, and I'm sure all the viewers will be really excited to hear from you as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. Good luck in season 2, and I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Chubbzter. Comment below maybe your favorite part or other guests that you maybe want to see. Anyway, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.